current queens and consorts of Europe. Thank you to Foreo for sponsoring this video. Through most of history, monarchs wielded unlimited political and martial power, while their queens and consorts were in charge of producing heirs and ruling the hearts of the people. Since the fall of feudalism, the 10 remaining hereditary monarchs of Europe have lost their unchecked authority. But their spouses' so-called soft powers of hosting diplomats, supporting charities, and greeting the public are more important than ever. And they look fabulous doing it. Let's meet the Queen's Consort of Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Sweden, and the United Kingdom, the Grand Duchess of Luxembourg, and the Princess of Monaco. We'll also meet the Princess of Liechtenstein, who recently died. Queen Mathilde of Belgium was born Lady Mathilde Marie Christine Ghislaine du Duquesne d'Ecot on January 20th, 1973 in Brussels. Her mother was a Polish aristocrat who fled her home during World War II. Her father was a baron and a descendant of one of Belgium's oldest noble families. Mathilde grew up at the Château de Losange with her 3 younger sisters and 1 brother. She speaks French, Dutch, English, Italian, and basic Spanish. She earned university degrees in speech therapy and psychology, then worked as a speech therapist in schools and in her own practice. In 1997, her grandmother and younger sister were killed in a car crash. In 1999, the engagement of Lady Mathilde and Prince Philippe of Belgium was announced. It was a surprise to the nation as their 3-year courtship was kept secret. The couple have stressed that their marriage was not arranged. Philippe said he knew when he first met Mathilde that she would be his future wife. Before the wedding, King Albert II created Mathilde Duchess of Brabant and promoted her parents to the rank of Count and Countess. The couple married on December 4th, 1999 at the Cathedral of St. Michael and St. Gudula. They honeymooned in the Maldives and India. The couple have 4 children, Elizabeth, Gabrielle, Emmanuel, and Eleanor. In 2013, King Albert abdicated in favor of Philippe. Mathilde thus became the first Queen of the Belgians to actually be Belgian. Queen Mathilde is involved with numerous charitable causes, including UNICEF, the World Health Organization, and she heads her own foundation focused on education and relieving child poverty. In her spare time, she enjoys reading, the outdoors, and playing piano and various sports. Modern-day queens and princesses are always in the public eye and wanting to look their best, and they have the cash and time to get top-of-the-line facials in the privacy of their own palace. But for us commoners, going to the spa to keep up that royal glow is time-consuming and expensive. That's why I love my UFO 3 from Foreo Sweden. You simply select the mask you want to use. Make My Day is perfect to perk me up in the morning, and Call It a Night is so relaxing for bedtime. But today, I'm going to go with Manuka Honey to give my skin deep hydration from the cold, dry weather. I just insert the mask into the device and follow the instructions on the app to gently apply the mask to my face and neck. The UFO 3 offers cooling cryotherapy to firm up wrinkles and puffiness, warming thermotherapy to help your skin absorb the wrinkle-banishing active ingredients, full-spectrum LED wavelength color to refine your complexion, and T-sonic massage to gently relax facial muscles and boost circulation. It's so relaxing, I feel like a pampered princess in my very own palace. After using my UFO 3 for the past few months, my skin feels supple, healthy, and glows brighter than a diamond tiara. Click the link in the description to get 21% off the UFO 3 by Foreo Sweden. This popular product rarely goes on sale, so don't wait. And now, back to history. Queen Mary of Denmark was born Mary Elizabeth Donaldson on February 5, 1972, in Hobart, Australia. Her parents were recent immigrants from Scotland. Her mother was an executive assistant to the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Tasmania, and her father was a mathematics professor. Mary is the youngest of 4 siblings. In school, Mary played basketball and hockey, as well as piano, flute, and clarinet. She studied commerce at the University of Tasmania and completed a law degree. Next, she moved to Melbourne and launched her career in advertising. In 1997, Mary's mother died from complications of heart surgery. Following the traumatic event, Mary quit her job and spent several months traveling America and Europe. She then moved to Sydney and took a position as an account director. In 2000, the world came to Sydney for the Summer Olympics. Mary went out with friends to a pub called the Slip Inn. There, her flatmate saw a man she knew at the bar and introduced Mary to him and his companions. Mary hit it off with one of the men in the crowd, Frederick. She didn't find out until later that her new boyfriend was the Crown Prince of Denmark. The man her flatmate knew was Felipe, the future King of Spain, and they had also been drinking with Prince Nicholas of Greece and Princess Martha Louise of Norway. Mary and Frederick began a long-distance relationship. He made several discreet trips to Australia to see her. As their romance got more serious, she moved to Paris and took a job tutoring English. In 2001, the papers identified Mary as the prince's girlfriend. She then moved to Copenhagen, took a job as a project consultant for Microsoft, and began taking Danish lessons. Frederick proposed with a ring featuring square-cut diamonds and rubies, similar to the Danish flag. In 2003, their engagement was officially announced, and the media in Europe and Australia went wild over their Cinderella story. They wed on May 14, 2004 in Copenhagen Cathedral and spent their honeymoon in Africa. Upon their return, the Crown Prince couple jumped right in to a working tour of Denmark aboard the royal yacht Daneborg, then voyaged to Greenland and finally to the Athens Olympics. They welcomed 4 children, Christian, Isabella, and twins Vincent and Josephine. The couple were present during the exhumation of Empress Maria Feodorovna in Copenhagen and her reburial in St. Petersburg, Russia. Mary is involved in numerous charities with special focus on immigrants, refugees, and women's health. She is one of the few royals who is an outspoken public ally for the LGBTQ community. Princess Mary has been named one of the world's most fashionable people by Vanity Fair. She has posed for Vogue and other magazines and used the opportunity to promote the Danish fashion industry. In her spare time, Mary is an avid equestrian and competes in dressage. In 2018, at a gala celebrating Crown Prince Frederick's 50th birthday, Mary gave a speech in impeccable Danish, telling her husband, "I'm so happy that you swept me off my feet." Numerous celebrations were planned for Mary's 50th birthday in February 2020, but most were cancelled in the wake of COVID-19. Still, a large crowd appeared to wish the princess a happy birthday. On January 14, 2024, Queen Margrethe II abdicated and passed the throne to her son. He became King Frederick X, and Mary became Queen Consort of Denmark. Queen Máxima of the Netherlands was born Máxima Zorreguieta on May 17, 1971, in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Her father, Jorge, served as Secretary of Agriculture during the military dictatorship of Jorge Videla. Máxima has 2 brothers and a sister, plus 3 older half-sisters. She achieved a degree in economics in Argentina, then moved to New York where she earned a master's degree and worked at HSBC. She rose to Vice President of Emerging Markets, then moved to Deutsche Bank in Brussels. She also taught English and mathematics to schoolchildren. In 1999, while attending the Seville Spring Fair in Spain, she met Alexander. They hit it off and agreed to meet again in New York. They dated for several months before he revealed that he was the Prince of Orange and heir to the Dutch throne. At first, she thought he was joking. Their relationship caused controversy because of her father's involvement in the Dirty War, during which 30,000 people were killed or disappeared. An official inquiry concluded that while Jorge was almost certainly aware of the atrocities, he was not directly responsible for any. The Dutch government approved the engagement, and the couple were wed on February 2, 2002, at Nieuwe Kerk in Amsterdam. Her father was not invited, and her mother chose not to attend. Máxima gave birth to 3 daughters, Caterina Amalia, Alexia, and Ariane. She has taken a particular interest in the integration of immigrants into Dutch culture. She also leverages her economics background to promote financial education and opportunities for small businesses. In 2008, Máxima became the first member of any royal family to attend an LGBTQ rights conference. She remains one of the few royals in the world to publicly be an ally. In 2009, a man intentionally crashed his car into a parade in an attempt to harm the royal family. 5 people were killed and several more were seriously injured. In 2013, Queen Beatrix abdicated, and Willem-Alexander and Máxima became King and Queen of the Netherlands. Queen Máxima is considered one of the most fashion-forward royals and has a colorful theatrical style. In addition to her many charitable causes, royal duties, and foreign visits, she currently serves as the United Nations Special Advocate for Inclusive Finance for Development. In this capacity, she has visited several developing nations to promote poverty alleviation, food security, and education. Queen Sonja of Norway was born Sonja Haraldsen on July 4, 1937, in Oslo. Her father was a clothing merchant. She has 3 brothers. Sonja received a diploma in dressmaking at vocational school, attended finishing school in Switzerland, and then studied art history at the University of Oslo. In 1959, at the age of 22, she first met Crown Prince Harald at a party. He invited her to his graduation ball. They kept their relationship secret for 9 years. Because Sonja was a commoner, Harald's father, King Olaf V, expected him to dump her and select a royal or noble bride instead. But Harald insisted Sonja was the woman for him, and told his father that if he couldn't marry her, he would never marry, and bring the dynasty to an end. The king finally consented, and Harald and Sonja were wed on August 29, 1968, at Oslo Cathedral. Sonja gave birth to 2 children, Martha Louise and Håkon. As crown princess, she set up a fund to aid disabled children. She served as vice president of the Norwegian Red Cross and visited Bosnia and Zimbabwe and refugees in Malaysia. In 1991, Harald became king and Sonja queen consort. They were consecrated at Nidaros Cathedral, and the family went on a tour of all the counties of Norway. Throughout their reign, the couple have often taken the royal yacht Norge along the coast to visit their people. As queen, Sonja works to benefit children, elderly people, the homeless, substance abusers, and immigrants and refugee women. The Queen underwent basic officer training ahead of being appointed a Rear Admiral and Brigadier General. In 2005, she became the first queen to visit Antarctica. She is a grandmother to 5 children and enjoys hiking, photography, printmaking, graphic design, and ceramics. Queen Letizia of Spain was born Letizia Ortiz Rocasolano on September 15, 1972, in Asturias, Spain. Her father was a journalist and her mother a nurse. She has 2 older sisters. Letizia earned a master's degree in journalism from the University of Madrid. She worked as a journalist in Mexico, then returned to Spain and reported for Bloomberg and CNN. She broadcasted live from Ground Zero following September 11th. And filed reports from Iraq during the war. She moved up to anchor and eventually presented Telediario 2, the most watched newscast in Spain. Letizia dated writer Alonso Perez for 10 years. They married in a civil ceremony in 1998, but divorced a year later. In 2002, a mutual friend introduced her to Prince Felipe at a dinner party. They dated secretly for 2 years. To mark their engagement, he presented her with a 16-baguette diamond engagement ring. She gave him sapphire cufflinks and a classic book. They tied the knot on May 22, 2004, at Almudena Cathedral in Madrid. As her previous marriage was only civil, it didn't count in the eyes of the Catholic Church. Letizia gave up her career in journalism to join her husband in his busy schedule of royal duties and tours around the world. In 2005, she gave birth to Leonor. During her second pregnancy, there was debate about changing the succession from male preference to absolute primogeniture, so Leonor would remain heir even if she had a baby brother. When Sophia was born, the issue was dropped. In 2007, Letizia's sister Erika died by suicide. The princess began to take on more charity work. She focused on children's rights, rare diseases, culture, and education. In 2014, Juan Carlos abdicated, and Felipe and Letizia became king and queen. She is the first Spanish queen to have been born a commoner. She keeps busy with international tours and philanthropy, and enjoys reading literature, watching ballet, and practicing yoga. Queen Sylvia of Sweden was born Sylvia Renata Sommerlot on December 23, 1943, in Heidelberg, Germany. Her father was a German factory owner and her mother was Brazilian. Sylvia and her 3 brothers grew up in both countries. She attended the Munich School of Interpreting. She speaks German, Portuguese, French, Spanish, and English. In 1972, Sylvia worked at the Olympic Games in Munich as an interpreter and hostess. She was spearheading a marketing campaign for the city, and she and other hostesses wore sky blue dirndls to promote Bavarian cultural identity. There she met Crown Prince Carl Gustaf. The 26-year-old prince was instantly smitten with the confident, capable 29-year-old, and the pair began dating. In 1973, his grandfather died and he became King Carl XVI Gustaf of Sweden. With no one to object, he announced his own engagement to his commoner girlfriend. The night before the wedding, they attended a royal variety show where ABBA performed their hit song Dancing Queen in honor of Sylvia. The couple were wed on June 19, 1976, in Stockholm Cathedral. The bride wore a cameo tiara which belonged to Empress Josephine of France. Sylvia quickly added Swedish and Swedish Sign Language to her repertoire. She gave birth to 3 children, Victoria, Carl Philip, and Madeline. News outlets reported that the Queen's father had been a member of the Nazi Party. She publicly defended him and commissioned a report, which claimed that he in fact helped a Jewish businessman escape Germany by taking over his factory. There have been numerous reports that King Carl is frequently unfaithful to his wife, that he attended sex parties and coerced women into sex. Through these allegations, Sylvia has remained by his side. They share an interest in outdoor activities and enjoy skiing during their annual visits to their cottage in Storlien, and they attend Olympic Games together. Sylvia is involved in several charities, focusing on child welfare, dementia, and elder care. She is a grandmother to 8 children. In her spare time, she enjoys reading and history. Queen Sylvia was by her husband's side during his 50th Jubilee celebration in 2023. Queen Camilla of the United Kingdom was born Camilla Rosemary Shand on July 17, 1947, in London. Her father, Bruce, was an army officer turned businessman, and her mother, Rosalind, was the daughter of Baron Ashcombe. Her mother's grandmother was Alice Keppel, one of King Edward VII's mistresses. Camilla has a younger sister, Annabel, and a brother, Mark. The family was upper class and grew up at The Lanes, an 18th century country estate in Sussex, and a 3-story mansion in the fashionable Kensington neighborhood of London. Camilla had a happy childhood, was an avid reader, and took writing lessons. She attended finishing school in Switzerland and then studied French in Paris. In 1965, she was a debutante. She moved to London and worked as a secretary. She was fired from one job for coming in late after spending the night before out dancing. In the late 60s, she met Andrew Parker Bowles, and they had an on-off relationship for several years. They broke up in 1970, and Andrew began dating Princess Anne. Camilla and the royals were in the same social circles, and she formally met Charles at a party in 1971. They began dating and met each other's families. In 1973, Charles was sent overseas with the Navy, and his relationship with Camilla ended abruptly. It's not clear exactly why. It may be that Charles wasn't ready to settle down, but more likely they were broken up by members of the royal family who felt Camilla was not a suitable future queen. Charles's uncle, Lord Mountbatten, was pushing the prince towards his granddaughter, Amanda Knotchbull, while the queen mum favored the Spencer girls, granddaughters of her lady-in-waiting. Within months, Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles in a Catholic ceremony attended by the queen mum, Princess Anne, and Princess Margaret. The couple had 2 children, Tom and Laura. In 1979, Lord Mountbatten was assassinated by the IRA. Charles was grief-stricken and leaned on Camilla for support. Andrew approved of his wife's affair with the prince, and he had lovers of his own throughout their marriage. But Charles finally bowed to family pressure and married the woman hand-picked for him, Diana Spencer. He has denied that he spent the night before his wedding with Camilla, but they picked up their affair shortly after he returned from his disastrous honeymoon. Diana began having affairs of her own. Private phone conversations between Diana and a friend and Charles and Camilla were leaked to the press. Diana was much more relatable to and liked by the public than the prince could ever be. So when news of his affair became public, Charles and Camilla got all the blame. Camilla and Andrew divorced in 1994, and Charles and Diana in 1996. Diana continued to live in the public eye, but in 1997, her car was chased by paparazzi and crashed. The public shock and outpouring of grief was enormous. The prince declared his relationship with Camilla non-negotiable. He hired an advisor to rehab both of their public images. Slowly, she began to be seen with him at public events. In 2005, Charles and Camilla finally wed in a civil ceremony. The marriage was controversial, but the Queen and the government approved. As Charles's wife, Camilla was technically Princess of Wales, but as the title was associated with Princess Diana, she used the lesser title Duchess of Cornwall. There was speculation about what Camilla would be called once Charles became king, but over the years she has become more accepted as a member of the royal family. On September 8, 2022, Queen Elizabeth died and her son became King Charles III. The palace's announcement of the Queen's death confirmed that Camilla would be Queen Consort. Camilla was crowned in Westminster Abbey alongside her husband on May 6, 2023. She is England's first commoner queen consort in 475 years, since Henry VIII's sixth wife, Catherine Parr. Grand Duchess Maria Theresa of Luxembourg was born Maria Teresa Mestre y Batista on March 22, 1956, in Havana, Cuba. When she was 3, the revolution broke out. She, her parents, and 3 siblings fled the regime of Fidel Castro and moved to New York City. The family later moved to Geneva, Switzerland. Maria Theresa took ballet and singing lessons and enjoyed skiing, ice skating, and water sports. While studying political science at the University of Geneva, she met fellow student Crown Prince Henri. The couple married on Valentine's Day 1981 at the Notre Dame Cathedral of Luxembourg. Fidel Castro sent her a bouquet of red roses and a sugarcane. The newlyweds launched a foundation to help those with special needs integrate into society. Maria Theresa gave birth to 5 children: Guillaume, Félix, Louise, Alexandra, and Sébastien. In 2000, Grand Duke Jean abdicated and handed the throne to his son, Henri. Maria Theresa thus became Grand Duchess. She has been a special ambassador for UNESCO, working to expand education for women and girls, served on the board of the International Paralympic Committee, and worked with numerous other charities. Grand Duchess Maria Theresa enjoys spending time with her 6 grandchildren, interior design, floral arranging, reading historical novels, singing, playing guitar, and walking her dogs. Princess Marie of Liechtenstein was born Marie Kinsky on April 14, 1940 in Prague, in what was then Nazi-controlled Bohemia and is now the Czech Republic. Her father was the Count of Wienitz und Tettau. Marie held the courtesy title of Countess. She descended from a number of noble families, including the Princes of Wallachia. Marie spent her first 5 years at the Horaz-Jovica estate in Bohemia. In 1945, the family fled to Germany, where Marie attended boarding school. She spent time in London and Paris and learned English and French. In 1961, she graduated from the University of Munich. That summer, she visited her second cousin, Princess Georgina of Liechtenstein. The beautiful and confident 21-year-old countess met Georgiana's still slightly awkward 16-year-old son, Hans Adam. For him, it was love at first sight. She wasn't as impressed with the teenage prince. Marie returned to Germany to launch her career as a graphic designer. Over the next 5 years, she met Hans Adam many more times, and their bond grew. When he was 20, he proposed and she accepted. But his parents asked them to wait until he completed university. They wed on July 30th, 1967, at the Cathedral of St. Florian in Vaduz. He was 22 and she 27. In 1968, the princess took part in protests against the Soviet Union's invasion of her homeland. She and Hans Adam welcomed 4 children: Alois, Maximilian, Konstantin, and Tatiana. Princess Marie was very involved in their school and took on numerous charitable causes. She was on the board of Liechtenstein's Society for Environmental Protection. She was president of the Liechtenstein Red Cross for 30 years and sent aid during the Yugoslav War. In 1989, Hans Adam became Sovereign Prince of Liechtenstein. He also inherited the LGT Group, the largest family-owned private bank in the world, worth $7.6 billion. Per tradition, in 2004, Hans Adam named his eldest son, Prince Alois, regent and handed him power. He and Princess Marie continued to appear at royal functions at home and abroad. On August 18, 2021, Princess Marie suffered a stroke. She died 3 days later in hospital in Switzerland at the age of 81. The micronation came out to mourn as their princess was laid to rest at the Cathedral of St. Florian, where she had become a princess 54 years earlier. Princess Charlene of Monaco was born Charlene Lynette Wittstock on January 25, 1978, in Rhodesia, what is now Zimbabwe. Her great-grandparents immigrated to South Africa from Germany in the mid-1800s. Charlene's father was a sales manager and her mother a competitive diver. She has 2 younger brothers. At 21, Charlene won 3 gold medals at the All-Africa Games. She represented South Africa in the 1998 and 2002 Commonwealth Games and won silver. She competed in the 2000 Sydney Summer Olympics, where her relay team finished 5th. Throughout her career, Charlene gave swimming lessons to underprivileged children. While competing in the Mare Nostrum meet in Monaco in 2000, she met Sovereign Prince Albert II. They made their relationship public at the opening ceremonies of the 2006 Winter Olympics in Turin, Italy. Albert, 20 years her senior, had a reputation as a playboy and had denied paternity of at least 2 children. Charlene planned to compete in the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing as her swan song, but a shoulder injury prevented her from qualifying. Her engagement to the prince was announced in 2010. In preparation, she converted to Catholicism and was tutored in French and court protocol. News broke that Albert was being sued for paternity of another child he had fathered while he was dating Charlene. According to some, she tried to flee Monaco, but was followed by Albert, who convinced her to stay. On July 2, 2011, Charlene and Albert tied the knot in the palace courtyard. The couple honeymooned in Mozambique. Among the princess's numerous charitable causes are the prevention of HIV in her native South Africa. She is a global ambassador for the Special Olympics and began her own foundation to prevent child drowning. In 2014, Charlene gave birth to twins. Gabriella was delivered first, but according to Monaco's male preference primogeniture, Jacques is the heir to the throne. In 2021, while visiting South Africa to raise awareness about rhinoceros poaching, Charlene caught an ear, nose, and throat infection. Her condition prevented her from flying home. She missed her 10th wedding anniversary, and there was speculation that the illness was a cover-up to avoid headlines of a pending royal divorce. She underwent surgery and was able to fly back to Europe, but spent 4 months in a Swiss clinic recovering from fatigue. After nearly 9 months, she was able to return to her family in Monaco. Princess Charlene enjoys surfing, hiking, reading poetry, and contemporary art. In next week's episode, we'll meet these queens' in-laws, the 4 princesses and 1 prince waiting in the wings to be the next queens and consorts of Europe. Don't want to wait to see the next episode? Patrons get exclusive early access to all of my multi-part series. If you would like to join my Patreon and help me make more fascinating videos, click on the link in the description. Thank you for watching.